had to set the mood. What is up, you guys? It's Allie, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a fun one, but also very helpful and informational. I'm doing my top 10 pieces of advice for incoming high school freshmen. And I know school is starting in a few weeks for most of us, or has already started, or is right about to start. So I thought this was a perfect time to upload this video if you are an incoming freshman, or even if you are an incoming sophomore, because I know last year was crazy. Some people didn't even come to campus at all. So really, it's just my top 10 pieces of advice for high schoolers. I'm not just gonna limit it to freshmen. My credentials before we start: I am only a junior, so you know, maybe some people don't think that that's enough credit, but I feel like I have some pretty solid advice to give out here. I'd say I am a credible source. Enough talking, let's get in to the advice. Alright, so the first piece of advice that I have is get involved within your school and participate as much as possible. Whether that be joining clubs that you're really passionate about, joining sports, or any other teams, programs that your high school provides. Do not be afraid, do not hesitate to join those, especially if you find something that you're passionate about and excited about. This is so important because it'll help integrate you into the school so that you feel less nervous and you feel less like a newcomer, and you kind of feel like a sense that you belong. Also, if you don't have a ton of people that you know going into school, it provides you with those instant kind of friends and helps you build relationships with people that you're going to be spending the next 4 years with. Not to mention, you just make so many fun memories and have great experiences whenever you get involved in your school. It's something that I wish I would have known coming in as a freshman, because I really didn't start getting involved until pretty far into my freshman year, and I just really regret that because I know I definitely missed out on a lot of really fun stuff. Definitely don't feel like you're too cool to join clubs or forget to apply, because I promise it is worth it. The next tip that I have is kind of similar as far as like relationships and connections are concerned. It is to develop relationships with teachers throughout high school, but especially, you know, freshman and sophomore year. That is because whenever you start to become an upperclassman, you're junior, senior, and you're applying to colleges, it is really helpful and important to have good teacher recommendations to send in with your college applications. If you don't really have like a relationship with them, or you maybe kind of didn't try super hard in their class, they're gonna write you like a very generic thing, and they're not gonna lie for you. They're gonna say like, they were a good student, quiet, turned in their work on time, you know, something like that, which that's fine, but it's not really something that's gonna stand out in a college application or college administrator or something. Also, it's important to learn how to start making good connections and relationships for once you get out of high school, learning those people skills and relationship building and communication skills that are just crucial parts of life. Be nice to your teachers, be very mature, be responsible, be everything like that for your teachers. The next tip that I have kind of has two sides to it. I'm gonna start out by saying that grades are important in high school. Now, this might seem like duh, obviously they're important, but when I was a freshman, I have always cared about my grades, but I guess I didn't really realize the importance of my grades freshman year. I just kind of had this mental attitude that it didn't really matter. When in reality, I'm gonna tell you, it does matter. Your grades freshman year count towards your high school GPA, and that is what colleges look at. I want to preface this by saying, yes, these grades matter and they are important, and just don't develop the attitude that I had freshman year that it doesn't matter. With all of that being said, learn how to make them a priority, but don't make them your top priority. The next tip that I have kind of goes hand in hand with the one that I just rambled on about. Create routines and develop healthy and sustainable habits freshman year that you can carry with you throughout the rest of your high school career. Being organized and learning how to manage your time, having a good sleep schedule, figuring out how you can deal with all the different aspects of school, social aspects, grades, extracurriculars. Being a teenager is hard enough in itself, so making sure that you have these routines are really important. Also developing your study habits and your study routines. Probably the most helpful tool for me in relation to this is my planner. This is not sponsored, but it should be because I could not live without my planner. I love this one, and it's from the brand Happy Planner. I actually got it from Walmart, and it's just amazing. It has like all of everything laid out for you. You have, you know, your month, and then you have your day by day. You can do this with any planner. It doesn't have to be this one, but just get a planner. Even if you don't think you're a planner person, give it a try, because I promise you, once you get into high school and you have 8 different classes and you know you're dealing with so many different things, it's really easy to forget stuff. And that's something that I did a lot. I would just genuinely forget something, and then the next day the teacher would be like, okay, time to turn in our homework, and I'm like, what? We had homework? That was a problem for me. This solved it. Okay, the next one might sound kind of silly, but I still wanted to mention it, and it's to not worry about dating in high school. Now, I know you've probably seen all the movies, all the TV shows, and you know, always imagined, oh, once I'm in high school, I'm gonna have like 50 boyfriends or girlfriends or whoever. I just want to say that you do not need to be dating or feel pressured to be in a relationship when you're in high school. I started off my freshman year with being in a relationship, if you could even call it that. I mean, I was 14, it wasn't even a relationship, but I'm not going to name this boy, but it was just very bad. That's like all that I cared about, which is another reason that I was not realizing the importance and getting involved and worrying about my grades, because I was worried about a dumb boy that now I could care less about, and that I realize now was terrible for me. But in the moment, that's all I cared about, just having that boyfriend in that high school relationship. Now, I'm not telling you that you can't date. I'm not saying that some people can't make it work, because they totally can. But I guess what I would like to say is don't seek out or force relationships when you're in high school, or especially freshman and sophomore year. If one appears and just happens naturally, I'm not saying you can't explore that and, you know, kind of let it happen. Just don't force it. The next tip that I have is finding an outlet for stress. High school is very stressful.
Groundbreaking.
Freshman year kind of blindsided me, because I had nothing to be stressed out about. And then all of a sudden, I am feeling like I'm being put under extreme pressure, and I had not learned how to cope with that yet. And I had no outlet to really release that stress. Finding something like, whether it be exercise, journaling, spending quality time with family or friends, or, you know, playing with your pets, whatever it may be, whatever works for you, just make sure that you find time to do that, because if not, you will burn out and you will come crashing down. speaking of stress, my next tip is, it might sound a little bit contradicting to some of the things that I said, but I want to make it clear that whenever you are a freshman, do not really spend any time stressing about college. If you don't know what you want to major in, if you don't know what college you want to go to, if you know what you want to do whenever you graduate, that is okay. And that's just what I want to stress right now. Whenever you are an underclassman, freshman, sophomore, you know, whatever, you really do not need to be stressing about those things. I'm not saying that you can't think about them at all. It's okay, and I honestly do recommend maybe starting to brainstorm a little bit so that whenever you are a junior and senior, you're not just like, oh, I have no idea. But don't let that be a source of stress whenever you are a freshman. Next thing I have is, don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, I feel like I've made it clear by this point in the video, high school is a bit of a slap in the face for most people. I talked about this with a lot of my friends a couple weeks ago. Felt very afraid and self-conscious to just ask someone for help, whether it be my parents or a teacher or a counselor. Whenever I felt like I needed advice or if I was struggling with something, I just felt like I was too proud, I was too embarrassed to just kind of swallow my ego and ask somebody for help and advice and what to do. I just wish that somebody would have told me that it's okay. It's probably the best thing that you can do. Alright, the next thing that I have is another really important one, and that is to go into high school knowing kind of your key morals and your values. I'm not saying that those cannot change, because as you are growing and moving through school, you know, some of those things might develop and you might have added new morals or, you know, revisited some things that you used to believe in, but now you kind of feel this way, and that's totally fine and totally normal. But if you go into high school not like having any sense of self-identity and what you stand for, it's really easy to get mixed up in things that are kind of not the best. If you don't know kind of your values and you don't remind yourself of those things before getting into high school, it can be really easy to be taken advantage of or be persuaded to do something that you might not have wanted to really do, but since you haven't really talked about that internally or even with people that you trust before going to school, it can become a problem. And I just want to warn people of that, so that if that's something that you don't plan on doing, if you don't plan on drinking, if you don't plan on partying and things like that, make sure you know that and tell yourself that so that you don't get swept up into it. The last thing that I have might sound a little bit corny, a little bit cheesy, but it's to not try and change yourself to fit in or make friends. I think it's definitely really crucial to have good, solid friendships and relationships to help get you through school and make it fun, because it should be fun. Yes, it is important and it's normal to feel stressed, but it should also be fun. And if you have a bunch of fake friends and people that don't really treat you right or that you don't even really like around you all the time, it's not going to be very fun. So don't try and change who you are. Don't try and be fake. Just be yourself, and you will find people that respect you and appreciate you for who you are. So yeah, this is getting a little bit cheesy, but just be yourself and you will find the right people. On that note, that's all of my tips. I hope that this was helpful to at least one person that may have come across this video, but I wish you all the best of luck. High school it's so fun. It's a very fun time. It might feel like the most stressful time of your life, but it's kind of like the last time in the last years that you get to be a kid. So don't waste it stressing. Know who you are, know what you stand for, and remember these tips whenever you start school, because I feel like they're pretty helpful and I wish I could have known these before going into high school. Don't forget to comment and subscribe and let me know also what other types of videos you want to see. And yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way here, comment the best part of your day because I want to know. Anyway, I love you guys and bye.